allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Carla, if you'll call the roll, please.
Robert Mueller.
Here.
Dina Kreitler. Jan Braun.
Here.
Beth Caldwell.
Here.
Stephanie Grumminger. Kelly Fowler. Laura Oliver.
Here.
Michael Hankins.
Here.
Kathleen Walsh.
Here.
Tom Couch. We have a quorum.
Thank you, Carla. You have before you the agenda. I'd like to amend that just a little bit based on a couple of things. One, under old business, give you an update on the NPS study. I talked with the project manager yesterday. And then under resource, the AT&T connection that Mike talked about, maybe we could get a little update on that, or if we don't have an update, table it to the next meeting. But that was two things that we wanted to talk about. Is there any other additions or to the agenda?
Move to approve.
Yeah. Is there a second?
Second.
Kathy? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. The next thing is the minutes from the previous meeting. They're in your packet. Take a minute to read those.
Move to approve.
Yeah. Is there a second?
Second.
Kathy, are there any changes or additions? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Are there any citizens to be heard today? None wishing to do so? Thanks for a couple of citizens showing up. If not, we'll move on to the Director of Tourism report. Sandra?
Okay. First of all, as we were just discussing before the start of the meeting, we had a very successful chocolate walk weekend. The numbers between last year and this year, in 2013, the best that Downtown Renewal records could show, we sold about 200 tickets. This year we sold about 275. So we had, after 90 days of wicked weather, we had a fairly nice weekend. At least the temperatures were above freezing, even if it wasn't beautiful. But we had a really nice turnout and nice foot traffic throughout the downtown area. And for the most part, we've received positive feedback. I know that a lot of people had more foot traffic than they were expecting. So out of 30 locations that were participating, 28 or 30, a couple of them did run out. So they either had to replace, or sometimes I know some of the backup plan was candy instead of whatever handmade treat they had. Downtown Renewal was the official sponsor of that. I think they're to be commended for really doing a nice job. I supported them by suggesting to them that they do an ad on Facebook. So we boosted the post. And so I think that might have contributed to some of the local traffic, just in addition to just general information about the event. So that was good. And then the other event that was supposed to be recently that had to be canceled was, of course, the Route de Vin's Romancing the Grape event. So that was, of course, disappointing, but I think the reason was that the roads in the
3 of the wineries were inaccessible again.
Yeah. So that event was canceled, but we did get the information out both to all the bed and breakfast on the same day that we found out about it, which was Friday. I know you didn't even know when we had our brainstorming meeting. You're like, I gotta go make it some deals. So we got the information out to all the bed and breakfasts and posted it on Facebook the same day, and I know the Route de Vin posted it that day. Just one of those things. Hopefully we'll have, continuing to have warming weather and so on. You have in front of
But
you.
just a
Sorry.
comment, I would suggest, Kathy, that maybe you talk to the Downtown Renewal Group. Feedback, either positive or negative, after an event is a great opportunity to improve the event for the next time, so.
That was the only feedback that I'd ever gotten from the
Yeah.
chocolate walk, when she specifically, they didn't come for the chocolate walk, but when they came down and found out it was going on, they went ahead and participated, and that was the first time I'd ever had anybody say anything.
Well,
about it.
just pass that on to
I
them,
will.
and because there were a lot of people out and about.
I had mentioned something to that effect to Kara on Saturday when I went and turned in my ticket money and stuff. And she said she really tried to go around and talk to everybody or email or call and say, we don't want Hershey's Kisses or peanut butter cups or whatever. We'd really like for it to be something handmade, homemade, but she said, but I can't force them to do anything like that. So she tried. She tried to get it out there that that's what we want the event to be. So.
Something out of the ordinary, like I said, $5 for
Right.
one little piece of something that I could get anywhere. I mean,
And I've heard talk about, it's so much chocolate, maybe raising the ticket price to $10, but if they do that, there's no way anybody could hand out Hershey's Kisses. People would, I think, really get angry at that. I'm just saying Hershey Kisses as an example, you know, there was a few different things. But, yeah, so Kara understands that that's an issue and doesn't quite know what to do about it because, like she said, she can't force anybody to make a certain thing for it, so.
Well, and I think there was a lot of emphasis this year on just getting numbers of people signed up to do the chocolate walk. So we had, instead of maybe having 15 or 20, I don't know how many actually had last year, but we, through Kara's efforts, got 30 or close to 30 people who signed up for it. So maybe some of those new people weren't as experienced with what chocolate walk is meant to be or represents, and so, you know, that you might have had a little bit of first-timer syndrome with that. But as Bob said, maybe we can, you know, continue to evolve for next year and bring that feedback back. You have in front of you the Welcome Center tracking through the end of December, and of course, December ended below last year, but overall on the year, we ended on the positive, so that, you know, that was a good thing. One of the things that I wanted to look at was, just in particular, November, we had 71% more visitors than November of last year. You can see the purple line there in November. December was down, but overall for the year, 2013 over 2012, we ended with 13% higher than last year, total numbers, so just FYI. Just a couple of other activities have been going on with the Welcome Center. One of our longtime employees, Mercedes, is retiring, and so we have taken steps to bring on one of the people who's been doing a lot of volunteering for us and bring her on as a part-time person. So she'll be starting next month. So we're excited about that. Just excited to have, you know, some changes, and we're going to continue to be looking for other volunteers so that when we have events where we need multiple people, we can kind of have some depth, because we need depth. So if you hear anything about changes, that's what's going on there. And then we also have had quite a few meetings with the event organizing committees. I've met with Jour de Fête Committee, the French Festival Committee, the Garden Walk Committee, and the École de Soldat, all in the last 30 days. And we'll be continuing to meet with those groups to give them support and feedback and help get information about their events out, and continuing to meet with, of course, the Downtown Renewal Group about the efforts that they have and specific events that they support throughout the year. I think everyone has one of these cards. Beth, did you bring this?
Yeah.
Thank you. So on the back of that, you can see the specific events that Downtown Renewal is sponsoring. Of course, we just had the chocolate walk. They are an official sponsor of the French Festival in June, and of course the Fourth Friday Art Walks all year, the plein air. The Junk Teak Market, if you want to just mark your calendars, that's going to be over Labor Day weekend this year, because it's in conjunction with the Highway 61 yard sale, the 100-mile yard sale. That's in September each year. And then I think we talked last time about the open air market and trying to move forward on River Gauge Park. The other thing I wanted to draw your attention to in terms of downtown renewal and the art walks coming up, 2014 marks the 80th anniversary of the Summer School of Art in St. Genevieve. And so there will be a number of very special events this summer that hopefully should affect not only the bed and breakfast, but also the shops and restaurants downtown and wineries in the wine country. So I've been working with the Art Guild and with Downtown Renewal on supporting that event. The first Friday is coming up on February 28th, and it's going to have a special Mardi Gras theme, so that's kind of exciting. And we have that posted on our Facebook page. And I know Beth's probably going to talk about events coming up as well. But so Downtown Renewal has been very active. They are meeting on a more frequent basis, moving forward on some of their targeted activities, and I'm working to support that. I know Beth is involved with that. Jan is as well. And then, of course, the various other leaders throughout the downtown businesses, shops, B&Bs, and so on. Okay. So then one other thing I wanted to point out was that I have been meeting with, we've talked about getting free coverage where we can, and so I've been meeting with travel writers and bloggers and magazine specialists, and I haven't gotten, this is not even hot off the press, it's hot off the internet. I haven't gotten the press version of this magazine yet, but in November, I think it was, we hosted a writer and a press person from Leisure Group Travel magazine. This is targeted specifically at group travel coordinators, and so the Microtel comped them a room. I sent them lots of information about St. Genevieve and about the things that groups could do here, and so they came into town and spent a couple of days visiting these sites and so on, and they wrote up a very nice article, and I was able to our previous outlet for advertising for group travel in particular was a magazine called Group Travel Northeast. And so I was a little concerned because two of our ads that went into that magazine last fall were very expensive, over $2,000 a piece, and our leads had some duplications and errors in them, and there were only about 70 leads from 2 quarterly publications. So I talked with the Missouri Division of Tourism Co-op Grant Department and asked if we could make some revisions. They were agreeable to that. So for our group travel purposes, I switched to this Leisure Group Travel magazine. For one, because they would do some editorial on us and the other wouldn't. And the other reason is that in the states surrounding Missouri, which probably would have our highest probability of sending group travelers here, they have 1,000 more group travel contacts in those contiguous states than the Northeastern Travel magazine did. So it seemed like a logical thing to do. They agreed with me. And so I just am saying that so that when you flip through this article, you'll also notice that we have a group travel third of a page ad here. And this is going to be reimbursed 50% by the co-op program. So that was a long preamble, but basically we're pretty excited about this. And this is something that we can do reprints of and send out to group tour operators, and we send out information packets encouraging them to bring people to St. Louis, to St. Genevieve. So
Just want to pass those around.
yeah. Thanks, Laura. Another thing that we're doing is looking at different types of affinity groups, and specifically reunion planning as a special niche of group tour planning. And so there is a workbook for reunion travel planners, whether it's a family reunion or sometimes these are, college reunions, military reunions, sometimes even private high school reunions, like, Chaminade out of St. Louis might do a reunion for the graduating class of 1955 or something. So reunions of all sorts, but particularly family reunions. So we came up with kind of a list of the types of things that reunions like to do, and included in that was information about St. Genevieve, living history tours, scenic hiking and driving, art, antiques and shopping, wineries, microbreweries, the Tiger Sanctuary, and then letting them know that group transportation assistance is available through the Welcome Center. So we'll also have an ad in this publication coming out in the spring of this year.
Do they have a for more information card? Is there any way to track how many hits we get?
On that publication, there is, both online and directly. This is more of a workbook format, and I'll pass this around so that you can see what it looks like. But I mean, it'll be pretty obvious if we get a call from a group that, is planning a reunion, because I don't think we've had, other than, the Project Pioneers that come home for Jour de Fête, I don't think we have a lot of reunions right now. I'm just I only have one of these, so I'm just gonna pass it around and show it to you. And then if anyone has any questions on that, they're welcome to contact me afterwards. I think that's it for now. I've got some other things to cover, but they can be later.
Okay. Let's move into old business, update on the 2014 calendar development. Do you know who we're still looking for information from?
We still have a couple of people out there that we're looking for information on. One of those is the county fair, and I believe we've asked the extension office for some help with that. So the county fair, Moonlight Madness, and at the last Downtown Renewal Promotions Committee meeting, I asked them for an update on that. I do know that they've committed to doing it, but they just haven't submitted an event sheet yet.
Did you get one from the farmer's market at all?
No, but there's a whole, that's in flux, so I'm not surprised that that's the case. Backstoppers, which is in September, so we might still get a report, or
I did talk to Steve Apps about
okay,
that.
okay. The Muni Band concerts, I mean, we know they'll be happening, they just haven't sent us their event confirmation. And then the French Christmas at the Felix Valley for next December. I've talked with Donna. She knows that I'm waiting for a event confirmation sheet from her. These sheets are also on the internet, so if you know of anyone who's planning an event that we may not be aware of for any reason, they can always download it. We sent these out in advance to all the people who have regularly occurring events, trying to encourage them. So.
This exercise of trying to get the events listed and information on them in November is paying off. I don't know if you've been on visitmo.com lately, but we have 19 events listed on that free listing. If you look at St. Louis Post-Dispatch events page, they're all listed on there. We were talking this morning, Megan listed these events on 15 free calendar sites. It's something that we've always wanted to. That's a first. That's a first.
At the beginning of the year.
At the beginning of the year, and I think you said it took 2.5 to 3 days maybe to do that.
Right, just doing nothing but entering events for, hours at a time.
But Megan did it during January when travel visitors are down.
Right.
And I got to compliment you on it because we've always wanted this to happen very early in the year, and it's getting out there. I think the one thing that we might want to talk about with the groups next year is many of these sites let you put a picture on. And perhaps we should try to put a library together of pictures for each of these events that we can send with that or post it on there. Pictures always kind of enhance an ad.
Right. So one thing that's kind of funny about that is, as Bob said, as a result of all of these event confirmation sheets, we come up with something that looks like this. These are the event confirmation sheets that are on the list that you got as a one-pager at the last meeting. So this information has been copied and pasted onto all those free sites. In addition, a lot of those sites on a monthly or quarterly basis will allow us to resubmit. And so for whatever reason, that's just the process that they go through. So sometimes we'll send pictures in when we resubmit.
But I think we can develop a library for each one of these, or make that kind of for the next year that you have stuff
A
that you can
library.
use. Okay. Any comments, questions on that?
And if anyone comes across, if you're surfing the internet and you come across a site that you think that would be cool to see our events listed on there, please email it to me. And if we're eligible, sometimes we're not eligible for one reason or another, but if we're eligible to submit events directly, we'll certainly try to do that. I think we're pretty comprehensive in the ones we're doing now, but by all means, if you see one, don't hesitate to send it, especially if you see that our events aren't on there.
Okay. TV commercial update. Do we have a new series of those coming up?
We do. I think at the last meeting, we had just finished the Need a Break After the Holidays series, and we revamped that to do a winter getaway in St. Genevieve. So that one ran in late January, early February. And I've already sent them a changed script for the next one, and next week we'll be sending some more springish photos, because the winter getaway, had typical winter scenes. So we'll send some spring photos, and the next series will run the first week of March. So I think the 3rd and the 10th were the dates that will be the next. This is on Channel 4. Hopefully everyone has seen those by now. I've gotten a lot of feedback just in email and just, bumping into people that they've seen it and they're excited about it. And
Yeah, I've talked to a lot of people who said, I saw you on a TV commercial. I'm like, really? That wasn't me. But, I don't say that, John. But that's okay. I say, St. Genevieve commercials.
Yeah.
They're getting good
Paducah
feedback.
was advertising on Channel 9 quite a bit during the last month. I think we should have called that Getaway Winter, not Winter.
yeah, get away from winter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are those viewable offline somewhere or online?
Yeah, I've never seen one. I don't have TV.
Okay.
So
Oh.
likewise.
Oh my, good for you, actually. Let me make a note to.
Put them on YouTube or something?
Yeah. I don't know if our rights would let us put it on YouTube, but I can email the link to everyone. That would probably work.
Thanks.
So,
By the way, it was hard for a couple months, and now I could really care less that I didn't have.
yeah.
We have Netflix,
You've
so
gotten
I can
over it?
watch
Oh, yeah.
stuff when I want to, but I don't miss it.
When did you do that?
5 years ago?
Oh, telling me yesterday.
No.
Well, that's a big step.
But you
My
missed
kids-
Downton Abbey.
I've never seen Downton Abbey.
Oh. But you could,
How's your
technically, you could
homework,
get
though?
that offline.
Yeah.
Homework's great. His grades are great. That was the point.
So I will email that file to the members of the committee. Kathy, if you want to watch it, just come on down and I'll show it to you sometime.
Okay. Last month, we talked about more additions to visitmo.com, and I think people took various assignments. We need to keep that on the list. I think you have to have them in by June or something like that. If that particular entity can be put in the actual print magazine, so I think we need to, this first 6 months of the year, we need to really try to finish that up and get those in for the respective sites. I think we're still at 52, I checked this morning, so we haven't added any since the last month.
Does everybody have their list from the last meeting of who they agreed to to contact? Okay.
Okay, co-op market submission.
Yep. So the State Division of Tourism Cooperative Marketing Program for FY15 as I discussed briefly at the last meeting, they are changing the way that they handle the dollars that are available to them for co-op marketing. Previously, it's my understanding that they put all of it into one program, and that was the co-op program. So for FY15, they're dividing it into 3 different kinds of programs. One is the co-op program with different levels, and the other is specific for targeting electronic programs, and the third is specific for targeting new tourism initiatives that you might be undertaking, like a specific initiative. So right now, we just have kind of a heads up about this, and they're supposed to be sending us the detailed, I would say, guidelines for those 3 programs. But I do know that just on the first program, the co-op program, that the dollar amounts will be revised next year. And I think last year we were eligible for $24,000, and we ended up with about $22,000 or so, just because of some differences. So for FY15, under the new scheme of things, they count the number of rooms that are actually in your county. We had hoped that they would count the number of rooms that are within a 30-minute drive. We have over 1,000 within a 30-minute drive, but the number of rooms that we have within the county is much lower. So we qualified as a level 1 for their marketing program funds. So our dollar match next year is going to be a maximum of $4,000 as opposed to...
Is it for all 3 categories, or just...
No, just that one category.
And they haven't said what the dollar value is for the other categories?
Right, we're supposed to be getting some new guidelines for those other 2 programs. So this is going to mean shifting the way we do business with the co-op grant, and maybe looking at specifically what our priorities are there. What we have always done with the co-op grant funds has been to focus, because of their requirements, outside a 50-mile radius, as everyone knows, and specifically it's been all magazine advertising. Quite a bit of it has been with the AAA magazine, and then other magazines specifically. So part of what I'm doing right now is kind of revamping what our grant requests will look like for next year. We have to have those in at the end of March. So I'm going to try to look at that in terms of, okay, so if you have 4,000, that's going to mean a max of 8,000 in that program, and what would be the highest priority for us in those. Those are my thoughts in terms of looking at it from that perspective. I think probably our highest priorities in the past have been kind of a split between the group travel and the leisure travel market. If there are opportunities to continue with only one of those, probably we're going to want to use the co-op for the leisure group travel, and then maybe, for the leisure traveler. And then look at other sources for the group travel funds. Or use the information that we have in terms of group travel contacts, especially through this new the new magazine with more contacts in the states adjoining us. So things are changing, but I think we can stay on top of those changes and still have a strong program.
One of the things we noticed when we were going through this discussion, you remember the state uses 17 SIC codes to evaluate tourism. B&Bs are not included in those 17, which kind of
It's pretty amazing. Yeah.
It's pretty amazing, because those are usually tourists that, and I think a SIC code is like 701107 for a B&B, and while the 17 have some subsets of like lodging, 701107 is not included, which is really, really interesting.
Well, and when it comes to lodging specifically, if they're judging us on our room nights, our rooms available, when it comes to lodging specifically, if you're a traveler, you're traveling for one of 2 reasons, right? Business or personal. So if you're going to a B&B, it's a much higher probability that you're traveling on personal business. I know there are some business travelers that book B&Bs as well, but I would say that the hotels and motels probably have a higher split of the business travelers than the B&Bs do. So it's kind of ironic that one is included in the sick codes and the other isn't. But that's the way it stands right now. Maybe there's, maybe there's going to be a reevaluation of that. I couldn't say for sure.
And I think we ought to write them a letter and ask them why that's not included, especially since they've changed the criteria.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Is there a B&B association?
Yes, there is.
Do they have a lobbyist?
Mike, do you know that?
No, I don't think they do.
But they would have.
They have one of the members that lobbies. They don't hire a lobbyist.
That would be what this guy needs
Yeah,
to go talk
their
to somebody
25th
about.
anniversary is coming up next month.
That's a great idea, Kathy. Because as a category across the state, I'm sure that this affects everyone.
Well, it seems to me like that's probably the most ridiculous way to figure it, because a business person isn't going to come downtown, and they probably would eat at the Huddle House or something out on the strip mall. They're not going to come downtown. They're not going to shop. They're not going to spend any money in this town whatsoever. And and tourism is under economic development. And economic development is you don't
Getting
go to a
dollars,
motel, stay there tonight, get up at 6 in the morning and leave again. Because you're attending business meetings. So
Right.
I don't know how they're looking at it and why they're looking at it in that context, because that's the wrong context to
Well, they're
look at
probably
it.
getting a lot of pressure from the Kansas Cities, the St. Louis, the St. Charles, and the Branson, because.
Yeah, but
Those-
tell me that the guy that goes to St. Louis that's going to be in meetings all day, I've done that. I was in a corporation. I never went, very seldom did we even go out to a restaurant. We ate in the hotel where we were, because we didn't have time. And I never went walking around, I never saw any sights. I just didn't do it. I didn't have time. I was
Well,
in New
I'm sure the
Orleans.
tourism
I was in New
department's getting a
Orleans,
lot of
and
pressure
the only
from
time
that.
you got to do it was, after like 6 or 7 o'clock at night. And the rest of them went out, and I don't drink, so I didn't go out.
Well, perhaps this thing of the B&B Association, at least talking to the Department of Tourism and getting that sick code included.
Well, and then there wouldn't be any backlash against us for bringing it up. Because we wouldn't want that to happen either. But I think that's an excellent suggestion, and
Well, there's always a possibility, it's been done before, that we would withhold our sales tax from them.
Put it in escrow.
That's right, put it in an escrow account and say, you're not supporting us. I think in BBIM, there are about 550 bed and breakfasts, and I think about half of them belong to BBIM.
Can you follow up with that?
Going to.
Okay, thanks, Mike.
That means I'll have to go to that meeting.
I wanted
but
to
stay
get.
in a B&B.
Yeah.
Well, they're asking me to go anyway, because I'm the only one left in the organization that's a founder.
Oh, wow.
There's 7 of us that founded the organization.
Wow.
So I should go.
I wanted to give you an update on the National Park Site study. I talked with Sharon Miles, the project coordinator out of Denver yesterday. The last time I updated or got an update from them, they had projected in November that the public report would be out by the end of January. That obviously hasn't occurred. She indicated that the draft had been sent to Washington. Washington has taken some time and come back and asked them to provide some additional information and make some changes that are not substantive changes but still have to be made. She estimated that those changes will be made and resubmitted to Washington, and now the date for the permission to print the public report will be in April, and then it's going to take 3 weeks to print it. And as I told Martin this morning, I also heard again about sequestration causing months and months of delay for 17 days. And, well, I guess we'll hear that for another couple of years, but.
A ripple effect.
Yeah. But I think we're going to talk at least with some of the local politicians represented, or our senators' representatives, and see if we can get them to help us move this along. So that'll be coming up. Okay, any other old business? If not, let's move on to new business and talk about being an affiliate welcome center or an official welcome center.
Yes, this came up at our last meeting. I had distributed the Missouri Official Travel Guide, and inside that travel guide, there are listings of the state welcome centers along the interstate, and then they have this other category called affiliate welcome centers, and we weren't listed, and there was a map there with all of the welcome centers across the state, and St. Genevieve wasn't listed as a welcome center, so Bob asked me to contact the state and find out more details about what it takes to become an affiliate welcome center. Well, the printing in the magazine is actually a secondary effect of the status of affiliate welcome center. The true measure or requirement as an affiliate welcome center is that you meet all the requirements and the guidelines by the Missouri Division of Tourism, and that you purchase a sign along the interstate to say there's an official Missouri affiliate welcome center, you know, at the next exit, get off here, follow the signs, etc. And so they sent me that information. Mike, do you want to talk about this? Do you want me to brief on it? Okay. So they sent me the information about it, and basically, you know, they have an application form, and they have, and I'll pass this around, they have maybe 15 bullet points of things that you have to do to be a affiliate welcome center. And then the third page is actually the costs involved. And Laura, of all the business owners here, you may be the only one who's familiar with the state interstate highway system where you have like, yeah, the Trailblazer signs. So the wineries frequently, sometimes larger restaurants, will have signs on the interstate, you know, when you come up to an exit and it says, here's the restaurants at the next exit, here are the gas stations. So there are also signs specific to state locations, like the Felix Valley State Historic Site has one of the brown signs out there. And if you're an official affiliate welcome center, you would have a 10-foot by 7-foot sign called a mainline sign. And these are the prices that they charge for this. They have like a selected contractor who produces these signs for them up to the Missouri DOT standards. And so a mainline sign costs $4,000. And
Each?
Yeah, each. And they're good for 10 years. So, you know, you could depreciate that over 10 years if you want to look at it that way. And then those little, the Trailblazer signs, those are $1,200 each. So there is a price tag associated with it, but once you become an affiliate welcome center, obviously you have that direct impact on the traffic going up and down Interstate 55, but then as a secondary benefit, you become listed as an affiliate welcome center both online and in their annual publications. So I talked with Bob about this in terms of what I had found out about it, and I talked to Mike about it because if we're going to do something like this, you know, we would have to look at some new resources for those types of expenses. But so there is an opportunity, yes.
To whom do you write the check, to what agency?
To the Missouri Division of Tourism.
And obviously, the fee exceeds the cost of the sign.
I remember when we were doing signs for our tourism signs and the DOT, well, I guess, you know, we were talking about some additional signs like down on Highway H and that, and how much MDNR has to contract with MoDOT to make those signs, and they're very expensive. I mean, it didn't surprise me, the cost of these.
Well, maybe they were
I was surprised it
using the
was,
funds for some other purpose.
well, right. I was surprised it was 10 feet by 7 feet. That sounds really big to me.
I saw one on Highway 44 coming home the other day.
For an official welcome center?
It was an
Okay.
affiliate.
Right, right.
Yeah. And it was fairly big. It was brown.
It's their normal brown and white, isn't it? Brown background and white lettering.
Can't remember what the letters looked
That's,
like.
no, not the welcome center. That's the storage center.
No,
That's
it was,
historic?
this one I'm pretty sure was brown.
Really?
Yeah,
The one down by Hayti, I think, is pretty.
is it?
So are you for sure going to pursue this, or you don't know yet?
Well,
I mean, we've been looking for a long time for a way to get people off the highway in downtown, and
so that's something that I think is going to be discussed at the Tourism Tax Commission meeting. So,
I think we just have to
you're
determine
waiting
if
for
it's,
someone to foot the bill.
yeah, if it's worthwhile to do. I mean, we did get a historic St. Genevieve sign, I think, a brown sign that's out there now that
right.
we didn't pay for. But
Just for historic context, I just want to remind everybody, we looked into this 3 years ago, and there's quite a lot of hidden costs. I mean, we calculated it was probably about $20,000, aside from the signs.
You mean
That's-
maintaining these rules?
Uh-huh. And I thought,
Oh.
and part of that, actually, I thought was a fee. I mean, it was an underwriting fee.
I think on like the little Trailblazer sign, isn't there an annual fee for those?
Yeah.
There's an annual fee for the, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you also should look into how far off, what are there, 11 other affiliates? How far off the highway each one of those is. Because if I'm cruising and I see a welcome center right there on the interstate, I may stop. If I realize, if I think it's going to be right there and it turns out it's
5 miles.
5 miles, that might be upsetting to some travelers. It's just a consideration, it's a weakness that we looked at once before. And
I don't
you gotta
think we're
consider-
recommending at this point in time to do it. It was to look into it, get the
Right.
facts, and then
That's what I'm
have a
saying.
discussion of it, and make a
yeah.
decision whether we wanted to pursue it or not.
Sandra, are you comfortable with all that other list of requirements? I mean, that's all
We
something that you could-
we meet everything on that list of requirements. The only thing is that we would have to be inspected, which, and this was interesting too, because when I made this phone call and I was sort of having the exploratory conversation, the people at Division of Tourism didn't realize at that point that we were open 7 days a week, except for major holidays. But that was news to them, and that's one of the requirements. So, I think they're looking at us more favorably as a result of that. So,
How many of these do you have to have all of them? Or, I mean, you have to follow, every one of these has to be,
yes.
so in
And
other words, you can do all of them except if you don't purchase a sign on the highway, then you're out.
Right, this is, basically it is the sign on the highway that makes you an affiliate. Mhm. And the ones that are right on the interstate, those are the official state-run welcome centers. So I would think that probably their signs are paid for by the state because they're state-run and staffed and everything, as opposed to like ourselves or Hannibal, Cape Girardeau, others that would be a local welcome center.
Who's closest to us that is an affiliate?
I think Hannibal.
I think this was out near Eureka.
Mike, it's actually, closest to us is West Plains. They're in that booklet right in front of you. In the southeast region, the only other one that would be our competition,
Is Hayti.
well, but Hayti's a state-run.
Well, that's right, that's the.
Yeah,
that's
in
the one
terms of an
that-
affiliate one, I think the
State, that's
closest
right,
one
yeah.
is West Plains. But I don't think of West Plains as being very much like us. I think more like us would be Hannibal. I wouldn't be surprised if Cape Girardeau was
I
working.
thought the one in Hannibal was a state run, not an affiliate.
They're, well, which list are they on in the print? I think they're an affiliate, but I could be wrong.
Doesn't say. It just says that Hayti, St. Louis, Hannibal are the ones on the Mississippi. That's the only one.
So basically, if you can find the funding, this would be a great thing.
I think it would be a great thing if we can find the funding, exactly. Well, and I will look into the recurring costs. I've actually
Yeah, I'm in a meeting.
called the last 2 days in a row to ask for additional information. They haven't returned my call yet, but
So does it obligate you to like carry a full range of brochures? And
yes,
and that kind of thing?
yes. And those are all outlined on there. And I went through, I think the copy that Mike has, I checked off everything to indicate Yes, we
But
meet
you
all
already
these.
have that.
Pardon
Do you
me?
not? You already have other
Exactly.
places.
We're already doing all
Yeah.
these things. We just
Except for
don't
the
have to
sign.
sign,
Yeah, okay.
right? So that's why I wanted
Well, if
to
you'll
bring it
just
to your attention that it's.
report to us at the
yeah.
next meeting and what
Sure.
your further discussions have been. Okay, Beth, you want to talk about upcoming events?
So 2 art walks, the Route de Ben and the École de Soldat was all I found on the Visit Mo, or not Visit Mo, oh my gosh, visitstgen.com events calendar. Does anyone know anything else for March or April?
I don't
March
know
or-
of anything else, but please note that Georgia Lateran this year is a week early due to Easter, so our brochures, typically it's the 3rd weekend in April every year, and this year it so happened fell on Easter, so there's brochures out there that say 3rd weekend in April. Please note that it's the weekend prior.
Beth, there is also, on April 12th, there is the Neon Glow 5K Run Walk. And since we didn't have a lot of other activities going on at that time, and since that's something that would be of interest to active travelers.
And the National Junior Honor Society just got the color run approved for the Alderman too, so can I put that on there too?
Is that open to the public?
Uh-huh.
Or is it just for Honor Society?
No, the National Junior Honor Society is putting it on, but it's for,
Chad's
proceeds
Coalition.
go to Chad's Coalition.
Do you have a date for that?
March 29th, I thought it was.
I'll check
It's a
on that.
Saturday, which March 28th is a Friday, so, yeah. Okay, I'll add those. And then I brought in some of these cards because I got a big stack of them from Kara. I got them from Kara Burt. I don't know if every member of the Downtown Renewal Project has a big stack available or not, but if anybody wants them, that's who I got them from. I don't know.
We have them at the
She's
Welcome
clearing house
Center.
for that, yeah.
Okay.
If
Kara
you-
at Simple to Sassy. She had a bunch of them, so.
Okay. Thanks, Beth. When, you'll be sending this out to everybody in the next few days, I assume?
Yeah, I'll add these too. I may have to email someone at the high school for details on the color run, but I'll do that right away. And
Do you get any input from the schools on events coming up, like when they have their band concerts or the baseball? I know it's not a tourism thing per se, but when those people come to town, you see them in cereals, you see them in vests. I mean, they do look for places to eat and things of that sort. And I don't know if there's a mechanism where they tell you about what's coming up. Not just a normal.
There's not a mechanism, but I wouldn't think that it would be too difficult to ask them to include us in an email or something.
Distribution? I would think so.
Yeah.
the district has a calendar app. I don't think it's Google Calendar. I think it's something different on their website for the Performing Arts Center, and they have one for the high school. But it's never very detailed. So sometimes the times aren't listed, but they do have, I believe, at least an
They have a
event on a
calendar.
day listed. But I don't know if there's an email subscription for that. I'm not sure, but it is on the district website.
You can sign up for the TextCaster alerts, but typically, unless it's a major.
You might not find out far enough in advance until the week prior.
Exactly, to be able to
But I
plan
think
for it.
things like, they annually have the band competition, they've had.
There's a band competition at Valley next Saturday, a week from Saturday.
High school?
But those are the kind of things I think that, and when the Yanks have their baseball tournaments and stuff like that, that's when we get a major influx rather than like a basketball game or.
I mean, those things like at Valley, you could go to Valley's website and they have that all on the calendar months in advance. So if someone just wants to check the calendar every couple of months.
Yeah, then the thing is, we're not going to have descriptions or impact numbers. It's going to take a little bit more than just checking the calendar. I mean,
Well, I
Then
wonder
it would be a
for
phone call to the
things
school.
like that, you know, we had several people in for lunch one day from a volleyball tournament that was going on all day at one of the schools. If we could at least just get some brochures to whatever place people register or check in or whatever, the parents
We
can pick up.
we
the
did put
brochure.
together that one little brochure that lists all the venues and it listed, I think it listed all the restaurants and things like that. We probably need to update it. And that was something that we gave it to the school so they could send it out with their package to the.
why wouldn't we just use the regular brochure?
Well, I think you updated it for one thing at the school. It was the baseball tournament. Remember you went
Oh.
out and set up the thing? We
Yeah.
had that one pager.
Yeah, I thought that was the GPS. Oh, I know what you mean now,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was venues
Yeah.
and
But
restaurants.
even if we could just have the brochure sitting on a
Mhm.
table at the event, you
Yeah.
know, I think that would help
Mhm.
some people.
Yeah, maybe they would do food and then maybe, visit a winery or go to a historic home, because they might not realize that it's all right under their noses. Okay, so I will, I've been in contact with both of the schools on other topics, so I'll find out who to talk to about them hopefully taking the initiative to send us information, because I don't know that I want to be always having to,
Right.
seek it out, but certainly I'd like to be included if there's some kind of an auto distribution. And maybe we can put a rack of our brochures, like at the Performing Arts Center, or, I don't know if they'll let us do that or not, but maybe they would. One thought that I had, and I know that this system predates me, so if I'm way off track here, just let me know. But have we ever thought about putting the St. Genevieve logo at the top of this, just to have some sort of graphic element to it? And I know sometimes it gets pretty busy to be able to even fit it on one page, but,
I could probably do that. I don't see why not. The only problem was that if somebody's photocopying these or printing them out in black and white, how will that, do we have a black and white version
we
of the
do,
logo?
yeah, we do.
Could you email that to me?
Sure.
And I'll add that?
If it would fit, yeah, and
I think you send this out primarily to local businesses, don't you?
Mhm.
This was an attempt to get the local businesses to know what was going on.
Right, but everybody
It's
has
just
copies at their
in the paper,
business for
right.
people to pick up.
Yeah.
And we have copies of it at the Welcome Center for people to pick up.
Yeah, I could easily add that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just think, I think that would be great. So-
Okay, next item was advertising opportunities that are coming up in April, May, and June.
Yes, so there are two major areas that I'm going to send out to people to let them know, but one is the Belleville News Democrat, their summer fun guide, and the other is the Webster Kirkwood Times and South County Times spring vacation guide. These are two that I know. The Belleville News Democrat, I know last year was something that you all kind of barely caught and were able to get in on, but I've been having conversations with them about, can we get a whole page for St. Genevieve and, allow people to include their 1/8 ad, and then we still get the discounted rate. I think it would save, if I remember correctly, it would save the individual business about $60 or $75 over placing the same size ad in there without having the full page discount. So Belleville News Democrat and South County and Webster Kirkwood Times, we're looking at both of those. And then I emailed the wineries. I'm kind of looking at Laura because I'm wondering, did you get an email from me about the Iron Fork event? Okay. Sometimes I'm never sure when I send a mass email, sometimes it seems like they don't always land where I think they'll land. So that's why I was kind of looking at you. There was an event that I found out about through talking with the Riverfront Times, and it's called the Iron Fork event, and it highlights St. Louis restaurants, but this year they're adding a wine country section. And so I know that Mount Pleasant Wineries were going to be there, Herman Wineries, and so I asked her, well, what would it take if we wanted to do a St. Genevieve wine country kind of a table? It's going to be $500 plus the wine to pour. So I emailed the wineries to see if there was any interest in kind of banding together to have a St. Genevieve presence there, and I'm in the process of getting emails back from them. I don't know if there's going to be interest in it or not, but they get about 2,000 people through that event, and 500 is actually pretty reasonable for, you know, a booth at a fair like that. So I don't know. What are not to put
I
you on
haven't heard
the spot.
anyone say anything to me about it.
Okay.
When did you start that initiative with the winery? When did you notify them?
Oh,
A
last,
few days ago.
yeah, maybe Monday or Tuesday.
Well, I hope they jump on this opportunity.
It's an awful expensive outing. We don't do outings like that anymore.
Yeah, I know.
Do you have a mechanism where you can tell the local potential advertisers that you're working on something like this B&D thing and say, okay, here's an opportunity, this is the cost, you have to have your thing in by this amount of time, or commitment?
Oh, it depends on the turnaround and time frame. Like these that I'm working on, I have a little bit longer lead
Yeah.
time. My thought was to email it, and do you have other suggestions?
No, I think, do we have a list of businesses that not only have typically supported that kind of thing, but might support it in the future if they knew about it? And do we have a way to send that out that says, hey, we have this opportunity, and it's not a mad scramble? Because I remember that's what it was like last year. I guess it was the B&D thing. And you just might look at your list and how we're going
Right.
to engage the business community to invite them to participate.
Right.
Yeah, what he's relating to is that when she came down from the Belleville News Democrat, she already knew she had me. And she knew she had some of the other B&Bs, but she didn't contact Kathy.
Right.
And so why he's relating to that is that people that would do it aren't always aware that we're doing one of those. And as we've said before, especially in the bed and breakfast industry, you make a statement when you are a small town like we are and you have 5 or 6 bed and breakfasts. Okay, you don't need
Participating,
you don't need
right.
the microtel, because every town, obviously, somewhere close to them has a motel. But you need, and a microtel is not especially a destination.
Right.
Whereas a bed and breakfast is absolutely a destination. So you make a statement when you have 5 or 6 in there, and in a lot of years past, you would find a place like, say, Herman, or Hannibal, or St. James may have 1, or not even be in one of those things. And so the people that pick it up go, well, gee, look at all the choices I have here. And that's what you're saying. So by also adding in businesses like the cafe and the winery and Kathy's shop.
Show me.
And that's why he's saying that.
Yeah.
That way
Oh.
you get a full page. if you
Right,
can.
right. And so this plays off of a little bit what we were working on last year with the round robin advertising, which was a separate program. And it's sort of probably because of the timing, that Belleville News Democrat was probably one of the early ones that was considered as part of that.
Well, she didn't consider it up front, but when she found out how many people were in it, she included that.
That's what I thought, right.
But that comes out twice a year, spring and fall.
Right.
And it is an area where we get a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
And the
Yeah.
fact that it goes into 12 or 14 smaller newspapers, you're getting a lot of coverage. But we get a lot of folks that come over from there. I know that if Bev was here, she would tell you she gets a lot of folks from.
And that covers the Scott Air Force
Yeah, and
Base area.
it's
yeah.
not real easy to get here. You either got to go to Chester, or with the ferry running, take the ferry, take a chance on that, or, it's not like they could just drive down 55. They got to get over here from the river.
Right, right. Well, so what I started to say is that the round robin would be directly relevant to this. And last fall, I did 3 months in a row with Feast magazine in St. Louis, and I emailed through my tips from tourism about the opportunity to participate in that. So I was thinking to use email again. Sometimes, I don't know, sometimes there are problems with those mass emails, so I might just do a hard copy and ask everybody to come down and pick it up or something.
Well, get a volunteer to walk around. I mean,
Yeah.
Might be able to help with that. I just wanted to make sure everybody has the opportunity to participate.
If they want to.
And to
sure.
know about this in advance and not make it a rush thing right at the end.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just, we ought to look at your list, or you say, what you call it, tips for tourism or something?
Yes.
Is that where you're going out to?
Those are emails that I send out to the business owners.
Okay.
Sometimes it's about groups coming into town, sometimes it's about advertising opportunities. If it's directly relevant just to wineries, sometimes I send it just to the winery owners.
Yeah, distribution list. But that's the kind of thing that we were really pushing for. I'm glad to hear you're doing that.
Yeah, I've been doing that since last fall, but I'm not 100% satisfied with how often it gets opened on the other side. So maybe
Well,
there's, maybe there's something to be said for hard copies.
One of the things is you can't force people to advertise.
Right.
You just give them I think what I look to you is to give them the opportunity. And if they choose not to open it up or to do it or not participate, that's their decision. I guess I wouldn't lose a lot of sleep on
Yeah.
that, as long as they're given the opportunity. Okay. Saturdays in St. Genevieve, you might want to talk about your initiative there.
Okay. This ties into the brainstorming session on small events, which we'll talk about later. But one of the brainstormed ideas that has, well, two of them actually. One of the brainstorm ideas is the junk teak thing, and that's actually going to happen through downtown renewal. And then another one was to get more going on a weekend. And we talked about having live musicians, having demonstrations, having people walking around in colonial costume, which is actually something that used to be done, I don't know, 20 years ago, I don't know how long ago, but, and kind of reviving that. So this has sort of evolved into a concept called Saturdays in St. Genevieve, which sort of works. And at the King's Ball, I had a sign-up list to encourage people who enjoy dressing up in period costume to sign up for a Saturday, and thinking 10:30 a.m. to about 1 as a shift. And so I got quite a few sign-ups at that time. I had some information in the newspaper about it. We've had a few phone calls about it. So if you or anyone that you know enjoys walking around and being a meeting and greeting person, sort of a little ambassador on the street, for St. Genevieve, we're still looking for volunteers for that. And I'm also developing kind of a resource list for demonstrators, colonial crafts or other small crafts, and then also musicians. So if you have any suggestions along those lines, please email them to me, because I'm looking at all possibilities.
What's your time period that you want to do this on?
So I would like to at least get it started by Garden Walk weekend, which is May 17th and 18th. If we have enough people and they want to start, doing it earlier, I mean, officially our tourism season opens April 1st. It'd be wonderful to have them in April too, but I'd at least like to have them from May through, October, if we can swing it. It's going to take a lot of people to make that happen, but I think it would definitely be a boost to the vitality of the downtown scene. And I know that it's a bit anecdotal, but I think we've all experienced, people who maybe they come here for their first time, and if you're just walking around on the street and you don't see anything going on and you can't see into, the historic homes, you don't actually know that there's much to do. You're just kind of walking around or driving around going, what do you do here? And we do have that kind of comment. I'm sure you've all had that kind of comment before. So this would give, sort of a little more festive air to your average Saturday in St. Genevieve. So we're moving forward with that first, because that's going to take a lot of organization and communication and booking people and so on.
Okay, thanks. Any other new business? Let's move on to committee reports, print media distribution of brochures. I know you've been doing some of that. Did you scrub the list?
I'm sorry?
Does everybody have one?
No, that's your copy.
Okay. This is the distribution report. I mean, so far, since mid-December, we're close to 7,000 distributed already. They're at all the welcome centers around the state, all the local businesses, the wineries. I'll pass it around. I thought everybody had that. It's good coverage. I mean, it's 10% already distributed. So.
Was that a report you had?
We keep track of everything that we send out because, you know, just to get an idea of how fast people are going through them and so on. So when a business comes in and picks up additional copies, we write that down. And then, of course, we shipped out boxes of brochures all across the state in January.
And again, I'd like to encourage everybody to get a box and keep it in your car. So wherever you find yourself out of town, distribute them.
Yeah.
Get them out there.
I'm glad to see Scott Air Force Base on there. We've had a lot of visitors from Scott Air Force Base with a program they're doing with soldiers that come back to cut down on post-traumatic stress disorder. And they'll bring a group of around 20. They've been here a couple times already. They're going to come back for the garden walk. And,
Did they have a bus down here during Chocolate Walk?
Yes, they
They
did.
had 2 buses.
So I've been in contact with that tour coordinator from Scott Air Force Base and told him that we'd love to have him coming down more frequently. And he was, actually, when he was here over Chocolate Walk, I sent some more brochures back with him, so. That reminds me, just because it's related to what Beth just said, has anyone been to the new Missouri Civil War Museum at Jefferson Barracks Park? I'm sure you probably have, Kathy.
Yes.
I talked with the director of the museum there, and because, you know, history enthusiasts, whether they like Civil War or whatever it might be, and so we sent a big box of brochures to him, and you know, if anyone has an opportunity, if they're in the South County area and they want to stop by Jefferson Barracks and go in and tour that and kind of pop in and shake hands and talk up St. Genevieve a little, that would be appreciated, because a lot of people that are going to get off the interstate there would very easily come down here if they really like, you know, historic attractions. So, yes.
And on the south side of the Civil War Museum at Jefferson Barracks is the Jefferson Barracks Heritage Foundation, which is also a museum. And it's a military history museum currently, and they have rotating exhibits. Right now they have the history of the Tuskegee Airmen with models of planes and photographs and paintings.
Wow.
And then on the east side of the Civil War Museum, by this time next year, will be the POW MIA Museum will be up and running.
Oh, wow.
They've also opened up a little military museum in Perryville on the seminary, old seminary grounds. And,
at the Higher Learning Center.
yeah, I think Gary Shell's been down there giving talks already, but Nick might just take some to deliver them there also. Did we establish any of those blue box things any place?
There's one at Southbound Fuel, and at the last meeting, Dina said that it was empty, and I went out there, and lo and behold, it was indeed empty. And so all I can think is that maybe some of the wineries just emptied it out because they wanted extra copies, or who knows what, but.
I took a
So
case
that-
out there not too long ago.
Of the new ones?
Mhm.
Well, so did I, so they've got a
I
lot.
think someone's just,
Not filling it up, I don't know, but,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah,
or maybe
that's
they're.
one thing I did notice, is that there was some lack of continuity among the staff of knowing what was going on.
Yeah.
Like, what's St. Genevieve?
I also got them to put our brochure in their little rack that's just to the left of the checkout stand, so they're in there too. But do they replace them when it empties out? If anybody's ever driving by and you pop in, there are boxes behind the counter. So if you ever go out there and you beat me to it or you beat Jan to it, just ask whoever's there, say, hey, I'm from the Tourism Advisory Council in St. Genevieve. Can you go back there and look for a box that has our brochures, because they've got buku brochures out there.
Yeah.
Okay, electronic media,
Okay, so Dina was going to report on this. You have 2 sheets. One of them has a graph at the top, and this is the search engine optimization. Search engine marketing from their perspective. That we are in a campaign with Madden Media to boost our site, and you can see the impressions and the click-through rate. 2.85 click-through rate is pretty good. And you can see the types of things that were clicked on most often. The highest number of clicks went to attractions, and then the second highest number of clicks went to the wineries and vineyards. So we're continuing to modify this. I asked them in their next report to also give me a report on lodging click-throughs, because in this first one they didn't have that as a thing that they're reporting back to me on. So there's the first or the December search engine optimization report, and the other thing that you have looks like this.
no, I don't think we did that.
Now they all got this little thing. So why are there like 7 copies of
It's
it?
under attractions on our website, the houses and,
Yeah.
I just think it's interesting that things to do is like the last,
I got,
Yeah.
Well, this
Well, I
is.
think that's under things to do, isn't it?
I got one.
Yeah, so I gave mine away. I guess when they got passed around, they got stuck. Okay. Now I've got a whole stack of them. Does somebody still not have one? They must have gotten stuck when they were getting passed around. So we have the opportunity to change this. If you want to see things to do moved up.
I'm just thinking attractions a subset of.
Well, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Now, I know that this is what's on our brochure, but to be very truthful with you, how often is someone going to come here and see the French legions shooting the gun?
They're not anymore because the French Marines don't come over here.
That's
anymore.
right. So you're not going to see them. So to put this out on the website, I mean, and we used it on our brochure, and it's not going to be seen. So you're saying to people, come here and you're going to see this. The electronic media people should get together and pick something else to put on there. It can be changed, you just said that.
Sure.
Pick something else that they will see in town. I don't care if it's a restaurant, I don't care if it's people walking on the street, I don't care if it's a shop. We used to use Jim and Mary Beth sitting, having a glass of wine, which isn't happening outside because we don't have any outside places for them to do that. But don't put something on there that they can't see.
Well, so the living history, the French colonial heritage would be explored during festivals. And I take your point. We can certainly put a different photo on there. Maybe we can even, if we can get a good one of our own militia. Most people wouldn't know if they saw our militia or these people.
But even our own militia doesn't, they walk in the parade for the Christmas walk, or the festival, and for the Heritage Days they may be here, but that's the only 2 times.
No, we do Jour de Fête,
Yeah,
and we do the
but
French festival.
you're not going to see them on a daily basis.
Not a daily basis, a festival basis, yes.
And for people to come here, that's the same thing as what she said about coming here for the Christmas walk. You get one person that says, not the Christmas, the chocolate walk. You get one person that's upset. They're going to tell 14 to 24 people. You get someone that likes something, you're going to tell 7 to 11 people. That's a big difference. And those people are gonna tell someone else. And so what I'm saying is, it's not up to me, but I'm saying pick something that they can see any day that they come. I don't care if it's a historic home, I don't care if it's a shop, and if you can change it periodically, put several shops on there, you know.
Well, and the other way to look at that is, maybe we could get more frequent activity by people dressed in period costume, whether it's militia or...
Right, yeah. We
Right.
used to use the Bastille, but we don't have Bastille. It was only once a year. But we had people, a lot of people that were in costume. So if you've got people that are gonna volunteer to be in costume, take pictures of them, and you know, and if they're gonna be every weekend, yeah, sure, they're not gonna be here on a Monday or Tuesday. You know, when somebody comes on a Monday or Tuesday, they don't expect to see that.
But I think your comment right is also, I mean, if we have some shopping in there, it's one of the things we want to promote,
Yeah.
dining.
Restaurants, shopping, anything with people in it. And
Wait,
these
and
all,
that's the
all
trick.
three of these have people in them, that's true.
That's
that
good.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, marketing says put people in it, don't just put buildings,
Exactly,
put people in it. But
right.
do something where they can, you know, even if it's just inside of a shop with somebody standing there buying something or whatever.
We have some of
Okay.
those.
A picture of Ellie at the Menard Valley House, in her costume.
Yes.
That kind of a thing
Yes.
is, I think, what you're talking about.
Anything.
And that's an everyday, pretty much, I mean, I know she gets a
Yeah.
day off, but you know what I'm saying,
Yeah,
it's,
and you've got three possibilities here. We give her a day off.
No.
But you've got three possibilities, so if you had, you know, something, that make them think that this is what's going on all the time.
Mhm.
So when they come here, they're not
Disappointed.
disenchanted. Because, oh, wow, this is historic town. I mean, when we left this morning, I looked down the street, there wasn't one
yeah,
person
you could have
on the
thrown a
street.
grenade down the street, not hit a dog.
You could have shot a shotgun down there and you wouldn't have hit anybody. But that's the way it is. Even on a Friday morning, that's the way it is. Anyway, that's my suggestion.
Okay, we'll look for different photos.
And how far along are you for the simplified version? Have you got write-ups for each of the pages?
Oh, yes, actually, we have too much text and we're in the process of cutting it down. Because the whole point is that it's visible on a cell phone, and so you want less text, not more, so. Yeah, so that's good to have that feedback. Neither one of the other digital media persons are here, but I'll share that with the committee, and we'll continue to evolve the product.
Tourism development, we did have a follow-up brainstorming meeting, and I think some of the Saturday stuff came out of that. We've had some other discussions on things, Trail Fest, Hiking Fest. St. Genevieve's blessed with a lot of great trails, and other towns take advantage of those things, and it could be a month-long thing, it could be a weekend thing, you know, hike St. Genevieve or whatever. I'm encouraged that Downtown Renewal seems to keep developing these little programs. That's the kind of thing we were talking about, chocolate walk, cookie walk. Is there something else? Seems like if you can involve food and kids, we'll get
That's
up
it,
here.
that's a good combination.
You don't want to, I think you took the notes. for
Well, and the other thing that we also talked about that was related to that was offering coupons to people, either as part of a, package when you come into St. Louis or to St. Genevieve. Why have I got that on my head? And also maybe when they pick up a passport to see the historic homes, maybe give them some coupons to, visit a shop or a restaurant or whatever that might be. Kathy's really good about always having coupons down at the Welcome Center. When I send out tips for tourism, I always encourage the other business owners to, provide some sort of an incentive at our counter to go to your shop or business. And so I think maybe that would be an opportunity. I don't know if there's anybody especially interested in that would want to, take that on as a project or something in terms of working with the business owners to see who might like to do, who might like to offer offer coupons. Or I'll just keep telling people that we're looking for coupons, and does anyone participate in the coupons that are distributed by the hospital?
For the women's wellness.
Yeah, women's wellness, and they hand them out, okay. I mean, so if you've got a coupon that's out there for some other reason, we may as well use the same coupon. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, whatever it is, so.
I mean, can it be like how the Dragon card and the Valley card, where it's just like one sheet of paper and the list of businesses is on the back, and, do you know what I mean?
Right,
So
right.
it's super simple, and,
You know, our passport is just a little card now, and I don't know, perhaps we could make that into a full sheet or a foldable sheet.
I wouldn't do that.
Well-
I think you want to keep it small, because it's a ticket.
Well, the only thing is how do you get all those coupons? You can't,
Yeah.
unless you print it on the back or something, you know.
What if you printed something on the back? I mean, I have to look at one and see. Do you punch each house when you
Or
go
stamp
through?
it.
You stamp, okay, so if you stamp each house when they go through, what if you had a punch on the back side for maybe the coupons and like to use it like the way the Dragon card is, or instead of it being a multi-use, but to be able to have it to where they can punch it when they use it, maybe on the back of a passport or something.
We could fit quite a few on the back of it. I mean, I only have one coupon right now, so you'd have the whole back side of it if we did it today.
Yeah, but you could just list the name and whatever the, 10% off or free
Or
drink
even
or,
stamp the back.
yeah, and have a little box where they could check it off or something.
Yeah, and they don't have to eliminate on the back. They only have to eliminate on the front. So on the back, all you have to have is, Kathy's Pour La Femme and 10% or whatever it is, because you're going to know if they've been in there that day or whatever already. So, as long as the businesses want to participate, that's something that we will offer. I feel like I've thrown it out there a couple of times.
Well, we're getting ready for the passport season right now. I mean, that's going to start up again in April, so maybe another campaign, another ask again, and
So, I guess that's it for now.
the last thing was I think Mike, you brought up the AT&T connection from several years ago.
I talked to him, but I was planning to meet with him when we had the chamber meeting, and they postponed the chamber meeting to March. So, I mean, I can talk to him, but I want to do it face-to-face with him.
Okay, well, why don't we just put it on for a follow-up for the
Yeah,
next?
and I'm sure he will. I'm sure he will be amenable to do this. So, after I talk to him face-to-face, and what I may do, Kathy and I are talking about meeting with him up in his area instead of making him come down here, because we go up there quite often.
Okay,
And so, I know he'll come up with
so we'll
something.
just put it on when you're ready to give us an update, we'll put it
Yeah.
on. Okay. Any other business to come before the council?
Move to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn from Beth. Is there a
Second.
Second, Mike. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Perfect timing.
Channel 7 and 98 TV and web broadcasting are made possible through contributions and donations from viewers like you. Thank you for your support.